Hi, can you please confirm? Are you able to see the presentation? Okay, thank you. So, hi, once again, very good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining today's call. So, from today, we are going to start IS 105, which is a legislation paper, IS 105. So, to start with, we are going to start the Bible, I can say the Bible or the Quran or the Bhagavad Gita for the factories, which is the Factories Act 1948. So you can search in Google as well. If you go to the DC Fastly, there you can see these documents directly. It is an open source. So mostly all this total 105, we are not going to have any PPTs because it is the legal paper. So we'll directly discuss on the live documents which are there publicly available. Okay. So if you ask me in this IS 105, mostly they won't ask for any reference of sections or any reference of rules. Ask you to mention the rule number or section number. Mostly they will ask you to write the which are the sections which are comes under which chapter. Mostly from chapter from health or chapter if you name it welfare or chapter you may name it safety. Otherwise they may ask you to write which are the various sections which are uh, required for safety as a 2 marks question, or they may ask for 10 marks question. So first of all, I'd like to give you the overview of this 1948. See, once again, I'll see any questions. Okay. A small disclaimer here. I see every 5 minutes or 10 minutes my screen because I'm using different laptop. I can't able to see the comments during the session. I have to go back to the other screen and see the comments. Okay. In case of any delay, kindly excuse me. Yeah. So if you see the total Factories Act, if I'm not wrong, there are 12 chapters. Or else what I do is I'll show you the live how you can access this file as well. Just give me a while. I'll give the entire screen access. Share. If you go here, so you can type DZ Fastly India. Hope you are able to see my screen. Yeah. So once you go to the DZ Fastly, you can go to the home page. So this is the organization where all these rules have been designed. The Directorate General Factory Advice Services and Labor Institutions. This is the body where they will make all these amendments and they will suggest the government to pass the various amendments with respect to the legal requirements for safety. If you go here in OSH, Occupational Health and Safety Statutory Requirement, here you could see the Factories Act 1948. If you click that, you will get the document, the same document which I am showing you in a physical copy. Okay. Otherwise, other way of doing is I think here you can see the live also. I'm not sure previously we could able to see the each section wise data. I'm not sure currently it is available or not, but you can download from here, or you can see the model rules with respect to that, which is all about same. Here you'll have in detail use of this document. So as I mentioned, it will have various chapters. Chapter in the sense, the main heading, which is preliminary, is the one chapter, and second chapter is inspecting staff. Third chapter is health. And then fourth chapter is safety, fifth chapter is welfare, sixth is working hours of adults, then seventh is employment of young persons, eighth is leave with wages, ninth is special provisions, tenth is supplemental. And we have forms as well with respect to this. Forms in the sense we'll have various types of forms to use for factory license renewals, appointment of adult or appointment of manager or change of manager, and we have lifting tools and tackles inspections and their certificate. All these forms will be available. If you see overall, these are 10 chapters. If I ask you the major or the most useful chapters in the overall Factors Act, mostly in your practical experience, you will come across with the health chapter. There are sections from 20 to 34 and sorry 56. Then there are chapter 4, which is safety. Okay, now we'll go back to the original document instead of going there. So if you see here, mostly they will ask you sometimes the definition of adult, adolescent, and competent person. So what is mean by adult? This adult can be asked as an interview question as well, because below this we will say child labor. So every organization they strictly follow no child labor is allowed to work any premises. So we should understand what is mean by adult, what is the age criteria for this. సో బేసికల్గా ఈ ఫ్యాక్టరీస్ యాక్ట్ అనేది మనకి ఒక ఫ్యాక్టరీకి సంబంధించిన ఒక నిఘంటు. అంటే మనము ఎటువంటి లీగల్ రిక్వైర్మెంట్స్ అన్నీ ఫాలో అవ్వాలో, అంటే మనం పనిచేసే ఫ్యాక్టరీ అనేది ఈ ఫ్యాక్టరీస్ యాక్ట్ యొక్క పరిధిలోకి వస్తుందా రాదా, ఒకవేళ ఆ పరిధిలోకి వస్తే మనకి సంబంధించిన సెక్షన్స్, అంటే ఏ సెక్షన్స్ మనం ఫాలో అవ్వాలి. అంటే మన దగ్గర ఉన్న ఎక్విప్మెంట్స్ని బేస్ చేసుకొని, మన దగ్గర ఉన్న మ్యానుఫ్యాక్చరింగ్ ప్రాసెస్ని బేస్ చేసుకొని ఏ ఏ సెక్షన్లు మనకి అప్లికేబుల్ అవుతాయని ఈ ఫ్యాక్టరీస్ యాక్ట్ అనేది చెప్తుంది. సో దీనికి అనుబంధంగా మనకి ఫ్యాక్టరీస్ రూల్స్ ఉంటాయి. సో ఈ ఫ్యాక్టరీస్ యాక్ట్ ఏ యాక్ట్ అయినా కూడాను మనకి పార్లమెంట్లో మనకి ఆమోదం దొరుకుతుంది. అవే రూల్స్ అయితే లోకల్ అసెంబ్లీ అంటే స్టేట్ లెవెల్ అసెంబ్లీలో మనకి ఏమన్నా అమెండ్మెంట్స్ వచ్చినప్పుడు అక్కడ దాన్ని అప్రూవల్ అనేది దొరుకుతుంది. సో అన్ని యాక్ట్లు వచ్చేసి will be approved by the parliament and the rules are approved by the local governments. If we see the Factories Act, which is common for the entire country, and we have factories rules which will have very minimal changes with respect to state, no, not much, a negligible changes or negligible differences from state to state. So those are amended or approved or authorized by the local state governments. In the sense, in the assembly they will do the amendments or changes. So adult means what? Adult means a person who has completed his 18th year of age. So adult means who has completed a year, complete 18 years, even though the person who is running his 18th year also, which is not be considered as adult. He has to complete his complete 18 years. And who is mean by adolescent? A person in the sense male or female, who has completed his 15th year of age but not completed his 18th year of age. It seems he has completed his 15 to below 18 years. Above 15 years to below 18 years, the age group people will fall under adolescent category. Then calendar year. So the calendar year means it is everybody know what is mean by calendar year. It is a 12 months beginning with the first day of January in the year. From the day 1 of January in the year till 31st of December will be called as a calendar year. What I do is for your references, what are the topics we have discussed? I'll highlight here so that you can refer it. Then what is mean by child? So everybody say that child labor is strictly prohibited. Wherever you go to the any industry where they will put a very beautiful signage with some pictures of the kids saying that child labor is strictly prohibited. So we have to understand what is who is mean by child. Child means a person who has not completed his 15th year of age, which means below 15 years. Above 15 year till 18, who is adolescent, who has completed their 18 years, those are adults, and who has not completed their 15th year itself, those called as child. Okay, so these definitions are so important. As of now, I have seen some of the definitions as who is mean by adolescent or child or adult, but these questions can be asked mostly in the during interviews as well. Then competent person, this is also one of the a good point, because everywhere we go, what are the legal requirements? Immediately we will strike with yes. All the lifting tools and tackles, pressure vessels are to be certified by the competent person. Who is who is mean by competent person? Now we'll see. So, in relation to any provision of this act means a person or institution recognized as such by chief inspector for the purpose of carrying out the test. So, we should understand very clearly a competent person means it is not a person, means either a male or female. It is also a institution, which means any organization also will be comes under competent person. In the sense, either a person or an institution or a company. In relation to these provisions, which is recognized by chief inspector of factories. So who will recognize? It is being approved by the chief inspector of factories for the purpose of, I'll highlight this as well, for the purpose of uh, carrying out the test, examinations, and inspections required to be done in a factory under the provision of this act. So, what and all to be done in a factory? So, where we have provisions, we have provisions in section 4, which is safety. Sorry, which we have in safety chapter 4. Now, we'll see. What is the qualifications and experience of the competent person? Facilities are available at the dispersal, or the qualification or experience of these persons are employed in such institutions and facilities available therein with regard to conduct such test, examination, and inspections, and more than one person or institution can be recognized as competent person in a relation to factory. Either maybe a one or two. Even we have the qualifications also. If you can see in the factories act book, there they have clearly written the basic qualifications. If I'm not wrong, it should be a chemical or electrical or mechanical engineer with having, I think, 2 to 5 years of minimum experience in the same field, with a work experience on the same category, so they can apply for it. Then, in the initially, I have said where this factories is applicable. Once again, there are questions. Yeah, the government authorized in the sense the state specific bodies like inspector of factories or based on the DC fastly, they will give the recommendations to the governments for getting the amendment of such rules. For example, if I say child which is not completed his 15th year, maybe the government bodies or inspector of factories or DC fastly, they may tell that, sir, we can increase that to who has not completed 16th year. Then this amendment go to the local assembly. There it's get approved. Then it will be published. That is how it happens. Even if it is in the Factories Act also, they will do the necessary changes. Then it is being discussed in the parliament. Then they'll get the approval from the parliament. Then, as I mentioned, hazardous process. This is also have a chance of asking of definition. Uh, I could see in a couple of years they've asked means a process or activity in relation to an industry specified in first schedule where unless special care is taken raw metals used therein or intermediate or finished products byproducts waste or effluents thereof would. So basically they may ask you what is mean by hazardous process and give 2 3 examples, so you can refer the schedules so that you can able to write the example. Okay, then going forward, this is also one. First of all, we are talking about factory. We should know what does it mean by a factory. Which facility I'll say it is a factory. If the hotel is working, whether it is a factory or the people are working in a mine, either it is a factory. So, as per the definition, where 10 or more workers are working, or where working on any day of the preceding 12 months, and any part of which manufacturing process is being carried on with the aid of power or is ordinarily so carried on, whereon 10 or more workers. That is the one specific glitch you have to understand. 10 or more workers are working or were working on any day of the 12 months and in part of any which a manufacturing process. If it is in a manufacturing process, this is another point you should keep it in mind, is being carried on with the aid of power. With the aid of power, in the sense they are using the electrical energy or any other type of energy to do the manufacturing process. Our other definition is whereon 20 or more workers are working or were working on any day of the preceding 12 months and all in the part of which manufacturing process is being carried out without aid of power. So here it is without aid of power. The people are 20 and more workers. So if it is 10 workers with the aid of power, if 20 workers without aid of power, those facilities will be called as factories. But does not include a mine subject to the preparation of mobile unit being armed or forced, etc. If you see the explanation for computing the number of workers for the purpose of this clause, all the workers in different groups and relays in the day shall be taken into account. So here what we do is, if you see the numbers, you may say that okay, in my first shift only 3 people, second shift 3 people, and third shift 3 people, 9, or maybe 2 3 casual labors. So all together we will take it as a 10. We will consider the total count as 10. I will say another definition which is a useful one. Uh, Occupier is also one of the definition we should know, because he is the ultimate person who is finally responsible for, or finally not responsible, it is not a correct word, who is accountable for safety of the people, which is the occupier. The occupier means a person who has ultimate control over the affairs of factory. So over the affairs in the sense with respect to the safety affairs, with respect to the health, with respect to the welfare provisions, or with respect to the leaves and wages, etc. Altogether, who is having overall control, who is the decision maker, or put it in a better way, who is the decision maker for all these aspects, who is going to be the occupier. Okay. Uh, then we'll go down. These are approvals which are not required. Noticed by the occupier, which are not so important. Yeah. Then this section we have to discuss. Section 7A. This is also one of the important section where you have high chance of asking the question. Generally, simply that kindly please explain the general duties of occupier as per the Factories Act, or they will ask you to ask explain the few words or briefly explain the general duties of occupier. As we know, occupier is the whole and soul person who is having accountable for the the affairs on factory. So for them also there are few duties. So every occupier shall ensure so far as reasonably practicable the health, safety, and welfare of all the workers with their at the work in the factory. In the sense, as much as possible, he has to ensure health and safety welfare measures are implemented in the factory. Simply, they can't say we are not doing. As much as possible, they have to try to implement all the provisions. అంటే వాళ్ళు చేయగలిగినంత అంటే ఏంటి, దే కెన్ బి ఇంప్లిమెంటెడ్ అంటే ఎంతవరకు అయితే చేయగలుగుతారో అంతవరకు వాళ్ళు హెల్త్ అండ్ సేఫ్టీ అండ్ వెల్ఫేర్ ప్రొవిజన్స్ అంటే ప్రాక్టీసెస్ని ఇంప్లిమెంట్ చేయాలి. Without prejudice to the generality of the provisions and the matters which such duty extends to shall include. అంటే ఏంటంటే ఫస్ట్ పాయింట్ యాజ్ పర్ ద ఫస్ట్ పాయింట్ which is extending. So the first statement it is a general statement, and second will be following the elaboration of the first statement, which means section A subsection 1. If you see in the second point, the provision and maintenance of the plant and systems of the work in the factory that are safe and without risk to health. What is the provision and maintenance of plant and systems? Plant in the sense the equipments, the buildings, the processes are safe and without risk to health. So, in the sense, how you say the risk to health, how our health gets affected with the process. Any example? How our health gets. You can put your answers in chat box. How our health get impact with the processes in a factory. Okay. Meanwhile, you try to answer it. Fine. Yeah. Okay. Dust fumes exposure. Very good. Yes. Gas and dust fumes. Nice. Yes. You got my point. That's great. Thanks. Thanks. Yeah. The thing is, so we have to understand, is there any such kind of process? Is there any such kind of equipment? Is there any such kind of materials where it's get leak, escape, or spill, or by contamination which can impair or which can degrade the health of the employees, the factory owner should make sure that all those systems are properly under control. The arrangements, I'm reading the point B, the arrangements in the factory shall ensuring safety and the absence of risks to health in connection with the use, handling, storage, and transport of articles and substances. The second point, which is completely about the materials which you are handling, the arrangements in factory ensuring safety and absence of risk to health in connection with the use of substances, handling of substances, storage of substances, transportation of articles or substances. What is mean by a substance? Substance may be any form, maybe a chemical in the form of a liquid, gas, or solid, semi-solid, or slurry at various what do you call mm, in the various forms. So the occupier should provide a proper arrangements for usage. With the use, while using, we should have PPEs. While handling, we should have PPEs along with the equipments. While storage, we should have proper secondary containments. We should have proper temperature control if those chemicals need any storage conditions as per the manufacturer. We should have sprinkler systems inside. We should have smoke detection system. We should have proper inventory control. We should have FIFO method, first in, first out. We should not have over storage, and we have to look for the legal permissions for the storage of that specific chemical. So all these things comes in. Then transportation, so how you are transporting, you are transporting your chemical from one plant to other plant, you are transporting from the main storage area to the production, or once you have done production, from production to the finished goods storage, or you are taking samples from the tank farm area to the research laboratory or quality laboratory. How you are transporting, what kind of controls, safety controls I can take, those all comes under this B. It is a by seeing you can see the general point, but if you go deep dive into the point, you should interlink with your process. So what kind of articles or what kind of substances it's been using in my company, so how it can be interlinked with my point. So what kind of handling practices which are there in my company, how the chemicals have been handled, do we have any special requirements suggested by the manufacturer, we have to see what are the do's and don'ts while handling this specific substance. All these things has to be considered. Then the point C, the provision of such information, instruction, training, and supervision are necessary to ensure the health and safety of all workers at work. So the provisions of such information and instructions, training, and supervision. So what and all these points? What kind of information? As I mentioned in the previous point, the do's and don'ts, then SOPs or work instructions or check sheet, checklist, etc., or MSDS of the material. All the things has to be in place for all the workers who are handling those chemicals. Then instructions are already covered and training. So all the people have to be trained who and all handling such chemicals. They should be well known or well aware about the hazards in the sense and what kind of hazards which are present with those substances or the articles or the products, excuse me, they should aware. And supervision, the supervision in the sense like how the supervisors are being appointed to monitor the activities which are happening in the process area, in the critical areas, which is also a one of the duty of the occupier. Then maintenance of all the places of work in the factory in a condition that is safe and without risk to health, and the provision and maintenance of such means of access to and also egress from such places as are safe without such risk. Okay, okay, no questions. Yeah, maintenance of all places of work in the factory in a condition that is safe and without risk to health. So, whatever the places or the areas, workstations or workbenches or maintenance rooms or the production area, quality area, all those facilities should be as good as possible, and such means of access. What is mean by means of access to and egress from? In the sense how we are reaching that such a space. So here it is maintenance means if at all I want to go to a pipeline,